Grief blows just a hole in the life that you knew, and the map that you once held on to is no longer there. It's gone. And when that happens, all you can seem to do is just breathe. And then you begin a new journey to rebuild your life towards healing. When it comes to grief, I see that there are 4 phases that we go through. And this first phase is a crisis event. And the whole goal is just to survive. You're trying to survive the blast that's caused by your loss, because in reality, you lost more than just the one that you love. You lost much of the person you thought you were. Today, we talk a little bit about phase 2. It's the remapping process that is taking place neurologically, but also with your identity. Let me give you an example. I have a very good friend of mine who lost her son to a mysterious illness, and it was absolutely devastating. We surrounded her, and then after the funeral, everybody left, everybody went home, and then she was left alone. And so her routine became to get a cup of coffee in the morning and then go visit him at the graveside. And there she would just lay down next to him and cry. And then she would pray. Okay, God, you have 2 choices. You can bring him back to me, or you can take me to be with him. You see, that's the first phase of grief. Pain is paralyzing. The soul seems to be numb. There's energy that seems to be placed on hold. The mind can't seem to focus on anything but your loss. And you start to entertain some bad thoughts that disguise themselves as solutions to the problem. That's phase 1. Just survive the crisis. Just breathe with the help of others. And then you will gather enough strength, enough energy to take one step forward. You see, after weeks of lying next to her son, a moment came, her moment in her time, where she says, this just isn't working. I need to do something that will get me through the pain. And so she got up, she dusted herself off, and she made a plan. And that plan was just the beginning of her journey towards healing, towards remapping a new relationship with her son and a new identity that finds her today helping thousands of children as their advocate. Now, if there are thoughts starting to form in your mind that it's time to do something to get you through this pain, then I want to really encourage you, take this time to piece together a plan. We can do it gently, compassionately, but deliberately and intentionally to take that first step towards healing. 2 is when you begin the process to rebuild your life with, not from, but with your loved one's presence that is woven in a very new and very special way. Phase 1 is just about survival, man. That's the goal. You see smoke, you see debris, there's shock, you just breathe. You try to keep your head above the water. You just try to eat, to try to sleep, but you always ask for help. Now the dust is starting to settle. You can start to assess the new challenge ahead of you. Now it's time to act. But you'll also maybe notice these small pockets of time, these little bitty tiny spaces just of peace where the pain just isn't always. It's a sign that your brain and your heart are beginning the work of remapping your world. See, remapping really is a restructuring process that takes you down this long road to healing. What is really being mapped are 2 things. There's your brain, but it's also your identity. You see, when it comes to relationships, your brain kind of organizes itself using 3 circles or categories. And these 3 circles are time and space and closeness. Now, the 2 circles of time and space, that is the when and where and how often you interacted with the person that you love. Closeness is that bond that you shared with your loved one, the closeness you enjoyed, the depth of your love. So when your loved one dies, grief then ignites a desire in your brain to rebuild a time and space without your person's physical presence. It is trying to determine how you will communicate and interact with your loved one. And it's motivated to do just that. In fact, it's happening to you right now without you even knowing it, even without your permission or your effort. It is how you have been designed by your Creator. Time and space take a long time to remap. That's why we still anticipate our loved one coming home at their normal time, or when we glance at their chair thinking we might see them there. Or maybe when we expect their text whenever they always seem to text us at a certain time of the day, or wait to hear the jingling of the keys at the front door. Or what I do is wait and anticipate the garage door opening, that sound at 6 o'clock. It's not you going crazy. What it is that your brain and your heart, they're doing its job. And it takes a lot of time and effort to remap these two categories of time and space. So you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. Now, the third and most profound circle in your brain is closeness. And this circle does not remap. It stays the same. The bond that you have with your loved one is unaffected by your loss. And that love protein that wraps itself around the gene in your brain, the very moment you made that special connection, that goes completely unfazed. Let that sink in just for a minute. The love that defined your relationship is the same love that will always remain with you forever. This explains why this whole experience just doesn't seem real, why it feels like a bad dream. And so all those fears that we had, that we're just going to forget them, or even parts of them, that can be laid to rest. It won't happen. But remapping isn't only neurological, it's also very personal. You're slowly remapping your identity. Who am I now without my loved one? How many times have we said that in our struggle? And that's why we say a lot of things, like, my life will never be the same again. Well, I don't even know who I am anymore. You feel like you might have even lost your purpose. And those questions and those thoughts, they're so normal, but they also belong in this phase. And honestly, really, this is why this phase is so hard. This is the longest and most demanding phase. And the intensity of those waves of grief, they still flatten you out. However, during this phase, what you will notice, you will begin to see the frequencies of those waves begin to space out more and more with a little bit of time and intentional work. It'll kind of play out like this. You're going to have moments in the days that go pretty well. And then you'll have a full day where it's going great. And then you'll string together maybe 2 days and go, my gosh, I'm making progress. I think I'm healing. I think I'm doing well. And the third day comes and you can't get out of bed. And then you start to think to yourself, what's wrong with me? I should be past this now. That was my thing that I said to myself all the time. And then you start to think, oh my gosh, I think I'm regressing in my grief. I think I'm going backwards. And then you start to wonder if you'll ever feel normal again, or maybe this is my new normal, whatever that means. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel stuck. You're going to be tired of crying, tired of trying, tired of pretending to tell people, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. Don't beat yourself up like I did. It's not an indication that you're failing. It just simply means that you're on the path to healing. And it is your strength that has gotten you to this point so far. And it will be strength. And it will be the hard work. And it will be the intentional work. It'll be the determination that you put forth that will see you through on your way to healing. I promise you're much stronger than you think. You see, for me, that first year and some change, it really felt like I was living like two separate worlds. There was one world I was living in that was just full of triggers, all those days, birthdays, songs, holidays, grocery store visits, wherever. But then there was this other world. It was that offered like small signs of life where you just be normal, laughing with daughter, your friends, finishing the task at work, feeling good about yourself, sleeping through the night. And so neither one of these worlds canceled each other out. They kind of coexisted. But then slowly, with a lot of intentional work and time, the life-giving moments began to string together a little bit more. That's remapping at work. I talk a lot about intentional work with grief. And these practices, They work. But I'm not going to lie to you, man, they are painful, especially the first few times that you practice them. But it is a part of the remapping process that we all must go through. The thing about grief is that you can't muscle your way through it. And you can't ignore grief either. You must practice your way through it. On the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some practices that I used that will assist you and assist your brain in remapping the process. I want you to keep an eye out for that video. In the meantime, if you want a guide and a journal to help walk with you through the process that you're going through, my book, Saying Goodbye, and also the 13 Rules for the Grieving, they're both on Amazon. You don't have to do this alone, and you shouldn't do this alone. Head up, shoulders back, eyes up, people. You got this. Good day.